Hi everyone, this is Ricky with Bromero Cards. Thank you for stopping by and I hope you're having a great day. Today's card, we're going to be using some products from the Ton Stamps. We're going to be using some dies along with some paper here. We're going to be using the lovely Dahlia layering set and dies. There's about 4 or 5 levels there. And this is the Dahlia cover plate that we're going to be using. It is sold separately. We're also going to be using Gina K edible eggplant, plum punch, lovely lavender, a piece of pattern paper, Simon Says stamp slate, Simon Says stamp green apple, and MFT gumdrop. And we're also going to be using some glitter paper that I had randomly in my stash. I'm not for sure what company it is. It may be Concord and Ninth. They're black paper. So anyway, here we go. I'm going to show you all the pieces that it takes to make the Dahlia. We have the layer base, the second layer, the third layer. That's the outline layer, the fourth layer. And then we have 2 pieces for the leaves, which makes 2 clusters. And then we have the middle of the flower as well. We're not going to be using the outline because we're going to be using the cover plate instead for this. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to be putting all the dies onto the paper here. And I'm going in order of color, so you want to go from lightest to darkest. So as we're doing this, I actually flipped this piece of paper over because there's a greasy fingerprint on the top, so I went ahead and just flipped that over. And that would be the Plum Punch by Gina K. And then we have Edible Eggplant, which is going to be the last layer to the flower. For this flower. Again, there is an outline for this, but we will not be using it because we're using the cover plate, which is one big outline. Now we're going to go ahead and put the leaves onto the Simon Says stamp green apple and the MFT gumdrop. And we're going to go ahead and get that taped down as well. And then lastly, what we will also do is go ahead and get the middle or the centerpiece of the flower. We'll go ahead and get that taped down. And then also we have the final one, which is the cover plate, which we're using the Simon Says stamp slate here. And we're just going to tape that down and we're going to put everything through the die cutting machine. Not quite sure I'm going to show you every time that I put it through the die cutting machine. So we're going to skip ahead and get those all cut out. So now that we have everything cut out, we're going to go ahead and put everything together here. I sped this up because it would be rather boring to watch me put all these pieces together. But basically we are just going to put glue on the back of the first piece and we're going to glue it down to the base level. You don't have to put glue on everything here, but you know, it will help, but it's not required. Whoa, did you guys see that? I lined that up without my head getting in frame. How is it possible? I don't even know how that happens. The next thing we're going to do is put on the last layer here, which is the eggplant. And this one you may want to put a little more glue as much as where you can because that's going to be kind of the top layer of this whole flower other than the frame that we're going to use. So now that we have the flower done, we're going to go ahead and get the leaves completed here. And as you see here, I put the glue basically on the wrong piece and so I had to scrape some of that off, but it's fine. You can use a gum eraser to actually remove a lot of that adhesive afterwards. And now we're going to go ahead and glue in the centerpiece here, which is the glitter paper. Now we're going to fit the flower onto the frame. I want to make sure it's lined up here, and then we're going to put glue all over this this frame. This took a little bit to do. It's kind of annoying, but it's required because it's the top layer and everything has to stick to it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the flower placed onto it now. And then once I get that stuck on, I'm also going to be putting the leaves on. But first you have to clip off the flower a little bit because it's a little bigger than the die actually. Now we're going to put on the leaves, which is relatively simple here. And you may want to put a little extra glue on the leaves because they are raised a bit off of the frame because of all the layers. So you may want to put a little bit extra glue on there and make sure you press it down really good as well. And now that we have the flower put together, we're going to go ahead and get this gray cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm going to be using this as the base of the card. And I'm just going to get this glued down. It looks like the frame is a little bit smaller than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, unless I cut the paper wrong, which could be possible. I'm going to put a bunch of glue all over the back of this because we want to make sure it sticks really well. And I'm going to go around the frame. Almost forgot a piece there. And I probably should have added a little more glue to the frame portion. There were pieces that weren't sticking as well, but those could just be corrected by just adding a little more glue. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut off these little extra pieces here that that are hanging outside of the card. Nothing too hard, you just trim it and we're good. So now we're going to go ahead and put this onto the card base. This is a Nina Solar White card base. It is a top folding horizontal card. I guess that's what you call that. I'm really not for sure, but ooh, the back of this paper is really nice too. I probably could have used this as well, but I think I like the herringbone pattern on the other side, and I believe it's called herringbone. But here I'm just going back and forth deciding where exactly I want to put this on the card, but I did decide to go in this direction. And because I have liquid glue here, I can move this around and get it to where it needs to be on the card base so that it will fit. And then, like I did with the other panel, I'm going to cut off the edges of the white here that are showing in the card. And lastly, what we're going to do is put on the sentiment here. This is from the Tum Stamps. This is Easy Sentiments. I do have a bunch of these cut out already, so I'm not going to show you how to do that. But if you would like to have a video on how to do that, let me know down in the comments and I can make a separate video just for that. Here you're going to see me go back and forth trying to figure out which one of these I want to place onto the card. And I eventually choose the light green here because it looks a little bit better with the leaves. I was going to use a purple, but you know, the purple I think would have blended into the flower too much, so I think the green is just perfect actually. And this is me trying to decide if I want to do it sideways, if I want it on the flower, how exactly do I want this to be. And so I eventually decide to go on top of the flower. And I'm just going to get some 3M foam tape here, and I'm going to place that onto the back of the sentiment. And just enough on here just to get it to stick. This will be a pretty thick card, so if I send it through the mail, I might have to put some extra postage on, because there's 4 layers just in the flower. So I'm going to go ahead and get some 3M foam tape here placed onto the sentiment, and then we're going to remove the backing, and we'll go ahead and get that placed onto the card, and it'll be completed. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by today. I really appreciate it. I hope that you like this video. Please leave a comment and let me know what you think about the card or any other videos that you would like to see me make. And also please follow me over on social media, on Instagram and Twitter. Find me on as Bromero Cards, and also on Facebook. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the little bell so that you can be reminded when a new video comes out. So this is the final card. I love it. I think the gray and the purple and the green are great together, and the center of that flower is sparkly. It's wonderful. So anyway, you guys have a great week. Thank you so very much for following me and watching me play along. And I'll talk to you guys later, and a new video will be out soon. Bye.